Hello, you lovely ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mings, and today I'm going to do a bit of a retrospective rambling video on Fire Emblem 1. I'm currently doing this challenge where I try to Ironman every game in the series from start to finish, and I just completed Fire Emblem 1. Not once, but twice. And I have a lot of thoughts on this game. And in this video, I'm going to talk about things that changed over the course of playing this game again. And I'm also going to be going over 5 units that I have different opinions on now after these runs compared to what I thought before. I think people really wanted me to do a video like this, so here it is. I'm going to talk about FE1. So, prior to going into this challenge, I'd only actually ever played Fire Emblem 1 once, and that was the Let's Play I did on the channel 10 plus years ago. And for some reason, back then, when I first played it, I thought it was really easy. I did not find the game very challenging at all. I think maybe it's because I was used to Fire Emblem 6 on hard mode, which was like the game I played the most back then. And compared to FE6 on hard mode, yeah, this game doesn't feel super difficult. But I will say one thing. This game is a lot harder than I remember. And it's a lot more challenging than I remember. And it's a lot more fun than I remember. I think it's actually a big shame that a lot of people only experience the Arcanea games through the remix. I think Shadow Dragon is a good game, but it is a very different game to Fire Emblem 1. There are a lot of different mechanics, the difficulty feels very different, and there are actually certain aspects of FE1 that I actually think is better than Shadow Dragon. One of the things I really enjoy about Fire Emblem 1 is the experience formula. It's static. Every unit in the game gets the same amount of experience. Promoted unit, pre-promoted unit, unpromoted unit, doesn't matter. Manikeets, Wyvern Lords, Generals, they all get the same amount of experience. The only difference is healers who don't get experience through their staves, but rather they get experience when they're attacked, which it's a pretty dumb mechanic, but everything else actually really works in terms of experience for this game. I really like that even though you have a pre-promoted unit with bad growths, you can still level them up relatively quickly and cap them out within a few chapters if you want to. Of course, not every unit in this game has very good growth rates, so most of your units are not going to grow super fast. But it's still very nice to see the experience bar go up and the levels tick in. I don't know why, it just really hits my dopamine receptors. I don't need to get good level ups, I just like to see the experience bar go up. So that's actually a thing that I really enjoyed about this game. The second thing I enjoy about this game is just how huge the roster is. I mean, this is a thing that Shadow Dragon has too. It has even more units. But it's just so nice to know that there's so many units coming up and that you can kill off a reasonable amount of your roster and still just be able to make it fine through the game. I enjoy it. It's actually really cool. The magic system also just feels so different in FE1. How mages deal basically pure damage, but their damage never goes up because there's no magic stat in this game, and there's no resistance stat either, so fire will always deal 5 damage. Thunder will always deal 6 damage, you know? Hellfire will always deal 9 damage. It means that mages start off being very strong, and then they kind of fall off towards the late game. They become more support units towards the late game. Which is weird, because it's usually the opposite in Modern Fire Emblem. Mages start out weak, and then they get really strong in the late game. But here's the opposite. They actually carry you through the early game, and then they're kind of just delegated to staff duty in the late game with the occasional chip. It's really all about your physical units. It is such a different experience to play this game, and over the course of my 2 Iron Man runs, I just started really appreciating this game a hell of a lot more, and I think if you've only ever experienced Shadow Dragon, you really should go back and replay this game. Do it on an emulator so you can speed up like I did. I think plus 40% speed is a great balance to strike. It feels a lot more like a modern Fire Emblem when you play it this way. And of course, it does kind of suck that the music gets warped. You have to kind of play your own in the background, but I think it's a great way to enjoy the game personally, and I couldn't recommend it enough. So, I did 2 runs. In the first run, you know, I lost a lot of units. You guys know, like, I had to use S to kill Medius because I didn't get the falchion. I made a lot of mistakes. I lost my Star Sphere in the arena. It was just a mess. And then I did a second, more planned out run where I did, like, the whole game in one sitting, and that was also really fun to do. This game can actually be cleared pretty quickly. I think the speedrun record sits at around 4 hours or something. So you can actually clear it really quickly if you want to. You get so many warp staves, you get a lot of resources. This game is definitely not about resource management. It does have some issues, like I hate the convoy system, for example, how you have to enter a building and it just takes forever. Like, I feel like half of the challenge of beating this game is inventory management because it's so hard to swap items around. So there are certainly clunky aspects about this game that are kind of enraging to go through, and again, I'm not saying this game is perfect. What I am saying is this game has a lot of charm, and it feels incredibly different to Shadow Dragon. So you should absolutely try it out. So yeah, I had a lot of fun. I'm really excited to try the other games as well. So now I've officially played Fire Emblem 1 3 times. And what I want to do now is I want to go over 5 units that I changed my opinion on over the course of this run. For the good, for the worse, or for the better, I guess you could say. So the first unit that I changed my opinion on massively is Caeda. I guess my experience of her is tainted from Shadow Dragon, where she has that insanely powerful wing spare. But turns out you take the wing spare away from Caeda, and what you're left with is a very mediocre unit. Being a flyer in the Arcanea games really isn't as amazing as in the other games because there's no rescue in this game. You can't really visit villages with her, that's only for Marth. And it feels like there's always archers mixed in with the enemy. So having a flyer just doesn't feel that great. There aren't really many situations where I'm like, oh man, I really wish I had a flyer to fly over these mountains. There's not really anything for her to do. And you may think, oh, she's good against mages. No, she's not. She has 0 res, same as everyone else in this game. So Caeda, I thought she was like one of the best units in the game. I think I said that during my first stream. I thought, like, this is the best unit in the game. Caeda is like amazing. But then I realized, you know what? She's just a Pegasus Knight with 3 strength and a 20% growth. Sure, you can give her a Silver Lance at base. I mean, everyone knows about that trick. You give her a Jagan Silver Lance. Here's the thing. Even with the Silver Lance, she sucks. She just stops dealing damage a few chapters in. And towards the late game, I was using her just to shop and to recruit units. That's all she was there for. So I thought she was like the best unit in the game after Marth, but in Fire Emblem 1, she is painfully mediocre. You get Minerva pretty early on in the game, and she's just a better combat unit. And then there's also other Pegasus Knights, which is way better growths than her, that can actually cap out their strength without the need of stat boosters. Now, I will say this, if you get Caeda to chapter 21, you can visit the secret shop and you can cap her out, but you can do that with any unit, so that's not something unique to her. And the flying utility just doesn't feel important in FE1. There's almost never any situations where I'm like, oh man, I wish I had a flyer here. So she's just really mid. I'd say she's, like, I would maybe say she's around, like, Gordon level in terms of usefulness. Like, she is one of the worst starting units in Marth's squad. Kind of funny, but that is just how I feel about her. So yeah. Let's move over to the second unit that I changed my mind on. And this for the better. It's Castor. So, fun thing about FE1, not every unit in this game is able to promote. Only archers can promote to snipers with Orion's bolts. Everyone else, hunters and horsemen, they're stuck in their class. So Castor is a level 3 hunter unable to promote. And you may think, oh wow, that's so awful. Why would you ever use Castor over Gordon? Look at his strength growth. 60% strength growth in this game is a rarity. It is very, very uncommon for units to have more than like 30%. Castor is so strong. He will level strength roughly about every other level, sometimes even more than that. My Castor had like 15 plus strength in the mid-game. And what's so amazing about FE1, another thing that is unique to this game, is that it has an item called the bowgun. This is a weapon that didn't make it into any of the remakes, as far as I know. And it is like a low-power weapon. It has like 3 might or something, but it has 20 baseline crit. So if you have a very strong archer, they can use the bowgun to tremendous effect, because they already deal a lot of damage. The bowgun, it's light, so it's easy to double with, it crits a lot, it's super accurate. So Castor with the bowgun is just phenomenal. Gordon doesn't really have the strength to utilize it well. He needs like a silver bow to deal damage, but Castor doesn't need it. He can just bowgun his way through the game. And if you do need him to like one-shot a Wyvern Lord, then just give him a silver bow and he will just tear through that Wyvern Lord. Really impressed by Castor. I thought he was just one of those like benchable units that you just like put straight on the bench, but turns out having a 60% strength growth in FE1 is really freaking good, and it just makes him so unique. So I kind of like how units in FE1 are balanced around not having promotions. You can tell, like, yeah, Castor can't promote, so Kaga just gave him better growth rates to compensate for that. And there are a lot of units that are balanced in FE1 like this, so I think that's actually really cool. All right, so the third unit that I changed my mind on, and I don't think this comes as a big surprise, is Bantu. So I will say this, he is frustratingly inaccurate. And if you look at his growth rates, he looks like a joke unit, right? Like, seriously, 10% HP, skill and luck. Doesn't matter. His Dragonstone gives him 13 extra defense. I think 13 or 15, I don't remember. He has more than 15 defense when transformed. And the Dragonstone also does not have durability in this game, so it never breaks. So what you have here is basically a unit that doesn't take any physical damage. He will still get shredded by mages, so you do need to watch out for that. But I actually used Bantu, like, I think I used him well into like chapter 18 or 19. It doesn't matter that he doesn't grow. A unit with like 15 or 16 base defense will always be nice to have, because enemies in FE1, they don't scale that much. So it's not super common to go up against enemies with more than 15 or 16 might. Maybe if you meet like a silver sword wielding general or something, but aside from that, Bantu is fantastic. He's like so useful early on. He's better than any of the armor knights in my opinion when it comes to pure tanking. And if he does hit with his Dragonstone, he will actually take a decent chunk out of the enemy's HP, which is nice. Alright. So, up next, we have a unit, and yeah, Donlot's going to be very smug about this, that's for sure. Tomas. So I gotta say, when Donlot started talking about how good Tomas is, I thought he was, I thought it was high. I was like, oh my god, what are you talking about, Donlot? It's just Gordon. He's just a late joining Gordon. But turns out that's actually not the whole story. So Tomas is a very good example of a unit that joins at a perfect time. And it's not about just him as a unit, but it's what he comes with, right? So if you really think about it, there are only 2 snipers available in the game aside from Tomas. It is Gordon and George. Gordon is a pain to train. He has super low strength. He's probably not going to grow much. He's probably going to be benched by the time you reach Tomas. George is nice, absolutely. But George's stats, while they are good for the early part of the game, he will fall off because his growth rates are really bad and he doesn't grow much on his own. But what's so amazing about Tomas is that he joins together with an Orion's Bolt and an Arm Scroll. And that Orion's Bolt is pretty much only his to use. Keep in mind, you can't sell items in FE1. You can't sell items in FE1. So the Orion's Bolt, you might as well throw it away if you're not going to use it. So what you do is you give Tomas 2 levels, which is super easy to do since everyone levels super quickly in this game. And then once he's level 10, you promote him. And what you get then is you get this unit. You get a unit with 8 strength and 14 speed. And if you additionally give him the Arm Scroll that you get in the chapter, he can use the Parthia, which you also get at the end of the chapter that he joins. It's like everything just lines up perfectly for this guy. He joins, he gets an exclusive promotion item, he gets an Arm Scroll, which not a lot of other units need, and then you also get a Regalia Bow at the end of the chapter that he joins. It's like it was made for him, right? Now, again, you look at his growth rates, they're not that amazing, 20% strength, 30% speed, but they're good enough. They're good enough. Snipers are fantastic in FE1. You really do need, there's a lot of enemy flyers, so it's really good to be able to have a silver bow wielding sniper to help deal with you know, they can kill units, they can chip down units. They're just fantastic support units in general. So Tomas is just one of those units that you don't think he's necessarily going to be very good, but when you look at everything around him, he actually becomes insanely solid. All right, so time for the last unit. No, it's not Catra. That's just the footage that I'm viewing right now. The last unit that I changed my mind on, and I don't think this is going to come as any surprise either, it is none other than Ests. I always knew that she could be viable in this game, but what I do love about Est is just she grows like a weed. And turns out if you lose the falchion, which is easy to do in this game, easier than you might think, you need a Gradivus user, you need a strong Gradivus user. And you need a Gradivus user with 20 might. The only way to damage Medius is either with the Gradivus, the Mercurius, the Devil Sword, and I think the Devil Axe, if I remember correctly. So you need one of those 4. Ests actually saved my run. Without Est, I would not have a Gradivus user with 20 strength. I just would not. And what's so amazing about Est is she actually starts level 5. It's very easy to get her 5 levels. And then you promote her because there's no sense in waiting in this game because your promotion bonuses just bump you up to the stats above, in the class above. So you train her to level 10, you promote her, and then she just continues to grow like a weed from there. 70% strength growth is insane in this game. 70 strength, skill, and speed. So she becomes an absolutely insane Gradivis user, and if you don't have a falchion, she can kill Medius for you. So, yeah, I like her. She's great. So yeah, that's all I really want to talk about. 5 units I changed my mind on, and just a brief retrospective on FE1. It's a great game. You should go back and play it. Seriously, you should actually go back and play FE1. It is much, much better than I remember. So yeah. Let me know if you like this little rambling video, just a short little... I just decided to sit down and just talk out of my ass for 50 minutes, but yeah, I'll do the same thing with Gaiden if I beat it, and I'll do the same thing with FE3 if I beat it. I think it's fun to sit down and have these little retrospective thoughts. And yeah, let me know in the comment section, what were your favorite moments from the run? Were there any units you would have wished me to use? Is there any upcoming units that you would like me to give a chance in some of the other games that are next? I mean, granted, I make a true Gaiden, which, you know, I might not. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys on Sunday with more Gaiden. Hopefully we get through it. Give a like and a comment, and subscribe for more. Bye-bye.